Oh, I just realized that. Just pointed out there. Yeah.
Okay, should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah. I guess it is 5:05. We'll just let the rest of them trickle in, I guess. But we have most of them.
Okay. Do you want me to just go for it, or is there anything you need to talk about first?
Um.
You're not. Your voice is not coming in.
Oh, I think the mic cut off.
Oh, my voice isn't?
Oh no, I think
No,
Megan's.
Megan's.
Oh,
Okay, let's give her like a couple
Okay.
seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to switch to my AirPods.
Ah,
and
yeah,
it's
there.
not working. I was just gonna say like a brief intro of yourself. But otherwise you can just get right on in.
okay. Cool. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Shelli, and I currently am working at Quizlet. I guess before we dive in, I was like super curious how many of you are familiar with Quizlet, just so I have a sense of that. I see one hand, two hands. Yay. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, I am gonna share my screen so we can start with the presentation part, if I can figure out which screen to do. Okay. Can everyone see that okay?
Yep. That's good.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to be talking about today are tech careers and also ethics, and more specifically, the different tech careers I've had a chance to work in so far, because I can share most about that since I've done it. And then ethics in terms of like ethics at work and specifically at Quizlet. Um, So to give you a sense of how the day or the hour or however long this takes will go, I'll first kind of talk through my experiences, then talk through ethics at Quizlet, and we'll play a game of Quizlet Live at the end to make it more interactive. So pay attention because you'll be testing your knowledge then. And then definitely want to save time for questions as well. And feel free to like interrupt me whenever with questions, so that I'm hoping this is like more casual and more of a conversation than just like me talking to you. So yeah, let's get started. Just wanted to start off by sharing a little bit about me, and maybe before even diving into my career, I wanted to share a little bit about my experience before I decided to become an engineer as well. So I went to undergrad at UC Berkeley, and I did major in computer science, but the whole time I was there, I was like not really that sure that that's what I wanted to do. I had a lot of imposter syndrome, which basically means I didn't think that I had what it took to be a great engineer. Like classes were really difficult. There was a lot of just really smart people at school. So by the time I graduated, I wasn't even convinced that I wanted to be an engineer at all. And I was also taking a bunch of like non-engineering classes on the side too, since I wasn't that sure that engineering was what I wanted to do. So I was taking pre-med classes like biology and chemistry as well, which now that I'm not in school and I'm older and look back at that time, that was kind of crazy. I don't necessarily recommend taking that crazy amount of classes. It was a lot of work. But that just I just wanted to share that to give you a sense of like I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and that's totally normal. And I just started trying things out to see what would happen. So what my journey looked like is first I worked in biotech for a bit. for 5 years, I guess a little bit more than a bit. And then I moved on to food tech. And then finally, now I'm at ed tech at Quizlet. Okay, so biotech, my first job right out of college, I worked at a small company called Tandem Diabetes Care. And really what we did at this company was our main product was this insulin pump. And what this device, so this is a medical device, and what it does is delivers insulin to people living with diabetes. For people that are living with diabetes that don't use insulin pumps, they would have to like inject themselves with insulin. And that's a really annoying thing to have to do every day. And it was really cool to work at a company where we were building something that was really helping people and helping their quality of life. So that was my favorite part about working at a biotech company, was really this feeling every day that I was making a difference and really helping people out. And it also kind of matched with my interests in terms of at school, I was taking like engineering classes as well as thinking, oh, maybe I might want to be a doctor one day. Like, really, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but this was sort of the merging of those two worlds to work both in the medical field as well as engineering. And what I was specifically doing for my first position at this company, I wasn't doing engineering at all. I was just doing non-technical work to test the device. So testing at this company was really, really important because it's really important that the device works, because you can imagine if you're someone living with diabetes and relying on this pump to deliver the right amount of insulin after you eat a meal, it could be really bad if you say like, I want 1 unit of insulin, and if there's a problem with the device and it gave you like 100 units of insulin, really bad things could happen. Like, worst case scenario, someone could die. And that's a lot of responsibility as someone working at a biotech company to, you definitely don't want to be killing people, you want to be helping people. So that was sort of the trade-off of working at this kind of company, is that it was really a good feeling to be able to help people, but it was also kind of scary because you wanted to make sure you weren't making a mistake, because that could really hurt someone too. So after about 5 years of working in biotech, I was in San Diego, and I moved to the Bay Area and started working in a completely different industry. I was working in food tech, which is a lot lower stakes. Like, I probably couldn't have killed someone in the same way at a biotech company. And I worked at a company called Eat Club, and basically what we did is we provided a lunch service for companies mainly around the Bay Area to be able to order lunch. So if you're working at a company that uses Eat Club, you could go to work every day and pick your meal from our website, and then it would be delivered to you at lunch. So a lot lower stakes. Like, if I am an engineer working on the website and accidentally make a mistake, and someone, like, the worst case scenario is really someone might not be able to order their lunch, or they might order the wrong lunch. So really, really different. I wasn't necessarily changing lives. I was making it so people could get yummy food, which was really cool, because who doesn't like free lunch? But the really fun part about working at a company like this is that we could move a lot faster and really focus on fun features that could make the experience of ordering lunch a lot more pleasant. So adding little features like achievements, like, you just ordered your 100th meal, congratulations, and throw a little confetti party or something like that, or add the ability to favorite meals. And there was just a lot of interesting things we could do. And because the risk was lower, that we could change the website even multiple times a day, which was a lot of fun as an engineer. So I learned a lot at this company and grew my skills as an engineer, I would say much faster than I did at the biotech company, just because we could move a lot faster. Um, so that brings us to today. A few years ago, I started working at Quizlet, which is in the ed tech space. And so far, this is my favorite area of technology I've worked in. And that's because it's a good merge of the last two kinds of companies I've worked at, where I feel every day like I really am making a difference in people's lives, specifically students. And like I shared, I had a pretty hard time in school, and I know school is a really hard experience for a lot of students. And it feels really awesome to work at a company where I can help students who are going through a rough time, and anything I can do at Quizlet to make students' lives easier in any way, even if it's small, it feels really good to be able to do that. And when I was a student, there was no Quizlet. Like, studying for finals was literally, I would write my terms and definitions on flashcards. It took a lot of time. It was tough. So it's really cool to be part of something that's actually helping people get through their studies and actually be able to focus on the learning. So that's my favorite part of working in ed tech. It's also not as scary as biotech in terms of if Quizlet goes down. Sorry, I keep talking about like killing and death, I realized. So sorry about that. But if Quizlet goes down, like probably someone is not going to die. So it's less scary as an engineer in that sense. But it's still bad. Like if someone is cramming for a test or a final and they're really relying on Quizlet to be working, it'd be really upsetting if you're trying to study and then you get that like screen of death of Quizlet is not available. So we do take quality seriously, but it's not like so high stakes like it was at the biotech company that we can't deliver updates to the website. Like we can deliver changes pretty quickly and move fast as well. So I really like it a lot. Okay, I guess before moving on, I wanted to pause and see if anyone had any questions about me or those different areas of tech.
Any of the fellows have any questions? Because I know I have one, but I don't want to take the stage too early. All
Yeah,
right,
no
well, if
worries.
any,
There's no pressure. Just I hope it's like somewhat interesting. Also, let me know if it's not.
okay, we have a question in chat. Mari is asking, what was your favorite part of the food clubs, or so I think Eat Club?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I really liked that company. I stayed there for around 3 years, and my favorite part was the people. It was a pretty small group of engineers. There was only around 10 of us, and everyone was super supportive and um, helpful, fun to work with. And I just learned a ton at that company, and became a lot more confident as an engineer. I just realized that's something I forgot to mention in general is like after I first started working at a non-technical role at the biotech company, I switched into engineering because my boss was really supportive and believed in me and gave me that opportunity. And I had an awesome experience. And when you're surrounded by people who support you and believe in you and are there to help you, it can really raise your confidence. And I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is really fun to be an engineer and be able to create things that are helping people. And yeah, so for me, it's like always the people who are surrounding me that's the most important for whether or not I like it at a company.
I was going to ask a question, I guess somewhat similar. You mentioned that you had imposter syndrome when you were in college. Would you say that that's gone away? Or like, how has it gotten better? How has it progressed? And like, what kind of work environment do you think is the most conducive for you to not feel that?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better. I wouldn't say it ever like has fully gone away. And there's been hills and valleys in my career. There's been times where I felt a lot more confident when I was in a really supportive environment. And there were times when I felt a little bit less confident and started doubting myself. And really, that's what imposter syndrome is. It's when you kind of doubt yourself and you question, like, do I really have what it takes to be an engineer? Like, all these people around me seem way smarter than me, and just kind of questioning it. So it really, I would say, I recently had a bit of a like relapse of imposter syndrome when I was on a team where I wasn't getting as much of the support that I was looking for. And luckily, I was able to switch teams to a much more supportive environment, and that imposter syndrome like really quickly started to go away when I remembered, like, oh yeah, I am good at this, and people are excited to work with me and learn from me. Um, but a lot of it has to come internally as well. Like if some random person doubts you or is telling you you don't have the skills, don't always just believe that right away, because not everyone has the same kinds of skills, and it's important to remember that you're bringing something unique to the table. So just like reminding myself that, like, sometimes it's cheesy. I'll like make a post-it that's like, you are awesome or something, and just a reminder of, okay, like you can do this. Does that,
Definitely.
yeah, does that help at all?
Yeah, I think it's definitely I mean, I'm not doing engineering right now, but I definitely remember a lot of imposter syndrome, especially like when I just go to events and stuff. And so I think it'd be helpful for especially all the like everyone here who doesn't typically see themselves represented in tech to know that. Um, and so yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for answering.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think also when I joined, when I graduated around 10 years ago, there's a lot less women in tech at the time. And I think in school, I was like 1 out of 10. Like for every one woman, there was 10 men. So it was really not balanced. And I think that contributed a lot to me doubting myself, because I would just look around and be like, wow, everyone's really different. And they would look at me and wonder, like, she doesn't look like an engineer. And it would just get in my head a bit. But then when I started working, I realized it was a lot less scary and people were there to help. So just kind of leaning into that helped a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to know. Madison had a question. They were asking, what kind of skills did you use the most or were the most important when you were in the other jobs?
Mm, yeah, that's a really good question. I would say that it was more soft skills that were the most important throughout. So, not necessarily all of the technical things that I learned in school, but more how to collaborate with people and how to be able to communicate ideas clearly. Because being an engineer, I think a lot of people assume that it's like pretty individual work where you just kind of sit down and you're working on your coding assignment and you just kind of code. But it's a lot more collaborative than that. It's a lot of talking with designers or product or other engineers to figure out how to build the best thing for the customers. And if you're not able to communicate, you're a lot less valuable. So even now in the interview phase, a lot of companies care a lot more about, are they able to express themselves clearly and communicate difficult concepts in a clear way? And are they able to work together, um, not be a jerk, things like that. So I think those softer skills actually were more important than the technical things, which you can always learn on the job as well, because it's impossible to know every single thing and tech is always changing. So just as long as you're open to learn, um, I guess that's a skill in itself, being open to learn throughout.
Yeah. Thank you, Mari and Madison, for both your questions. Does
Yeah.
anybody else have any more?
All right. Yeah, thank you so much for the questions. I'll move on to the next part of the presentation now, on ethics, which I know you all will be talking more about in the courses or the coursework this week, but I'll be talking more specifically about ethics at Quizlet. And what I really mean when I say, like, what the heck do I mean when I say ethics at Quizlet? I just mean how, as someone working at Quizlet, do I know every day when I'm making decisions that I'm making the right decision? Like, how do I know I'm doing the right thing? That's basically what ethics is like using those principles of right or wrong to guide making good decisions. And at Quizlet, there's decisions being made every single day throughout the company. And it could be small things like, are we going to change an image here or there, or the wording on a page? But it could also be bigger things like, should we introduce a completely new feature? Should we support teachers as well, in addition to students? So decisions basically are being made every day. And this portion of the talk, I'll be going through hypothetical scenarios or real scenarios and how to go about making good decisions in a work environment. Okay. So really the basis of how do we make good decisions at Quizlet, we first have to understand at a high level, like, what is the point of Quizlet? Why does Quizlet even exist? What are we here for? And it's really important to understand that, because that's the foundation of everything else. Like, if a company doesn't have a clear reason for being around, then it's going to be weird and it's going to be hard to make good decisions. So what that is usually encapsulated as at a company is in a mission statement. So I just wanted to share Quizlet's mission statement, which is to make every student unstoppable by helping them practice and master whatever they're learning. So I'm going to keep on referring back to this mission statement as we go through different scenarios that require making decisions like at Quizlet. So the first topic area that comes up pretty often in day-to-day life at Quizlet is how can we balance making money with making sure that we still have happy users? And I guess it's not that fun in general to talk about money, but the reality is that Quizlet and usually any business does need to make money in order to keep being able to survive and provide features to their users. And making money does also serve our mission of being able to help students learn, because if Quizlet wasn't around, we wouldn't be able to help students learn. And the two ways we make money are paid subscriptions as well as ads for users that are studying for free and not using the paid accounts. And it's really important to us that we are able to support free studying because, again, back to the mission of helping everyone learn, we want to include users that aren't able to afford a paid subscription, and that's really, really important to us. But in order to subsidize those users, we unfortunately do have to provide ads for that experience. So I wanted to kind of run through a hypothetical scenario for ads and something that could happen in day-to-day work. So say I'm an engineer and someone from the finance team comes to me and says, hey, like we really want to work with this ad partner who wants to advertise flowers or something random. And I need you to add a 10-minute video advertising those flowers on the main set page, the study page. So as an engineer or anyone working at Quizlet, it's always okay to ask questions before just doing what you're told. So rather than just adding this 10-minute video, which kind of like feels like it would be a not great experience and would probably prevent people from learning, which is very against the mission statement to help, like the reason Quizlet exists is to help people learn. So rather than just adding a 10-minute video ad, I could ask the question of, is there another way that we could make money and advertise these flowers, but not, could it be less than 10 minutes? Could we put it as a study break rather than the first thing they see when they go to a set? Because people might not have 10 minutes right away and they might just give up. So I don't know if that was useful, but just wanted to like give that as an example of the kinds of things where we could use ethics and Quizlet's mission to be able to make a decision that results in still happy users and allowing people to learn, but find like a different way to make money. Also, we don't plan to run 10-minute video ads about flowers, in case you were worried. Another real life example that this is something that actually happened in the past year or so that I thought was really cool and I wanted to share it was night mode is a feature that used to be available to only paid users. I don't know if any of you have used night mode on Quizlet, but you might notice that this is available for all users now. And I wanted to share like how we came to that decision to move it from a paid to a free feature. And basically, we started getting a lot of support requests from users that were visually impaired, and they were having a hard time reading the content on our site to be able to study because the color contrast was hard for them to see. And we would give those students access to the paid feature night mode, and we got a lot of feedback that it was helping them see and be able to study a lot better. And so this started happening more and more. And as the months went on, someone started raising this question of like, why is this a paid feature? Because it seems to be preventing some students from learning. And that is, of course, like against our mission of helping every student learn. So there were a lot of conversations around the company, and then some analysis was done to determine if it would make business sense, if we would like lose a lot of money if we did this. And basically it was decided it's more important to stick to our mission statement and make learning accessible to everyone. And the decision was made to move this to a free feature as well. So I thought that was really cool. Okay, so the next topic area that comes up and that pretty often like day-to-day at Quizlet is user safety. The reason user safety is important is that if Quizlet users are on Quizlet and they don't feel safe, it's impossible to learn, or it's really impossible to do anything at all if you're not feeling safe. And one of the ways that we make sure that users feel safe is making sure that their data is protected. Okay, so what do I mean by data protection? Basically, when you sign up for a Quizlet account, you have to give some information to us. For example, your email, your birthday. I think those are the main things that we ask for on sign up. And to make sure a user feels safe, you're kind of trusting us to not use that information for bad purposes. Like when you tell us your email, you can trust that we're not going to then share your email with a bunch of crazy people who are going to email you. Like, we're just going to only use that to send you information about Quizlet and, you know, log in to your account that way. So that's like one kind of extreme example. Another is when you log in, something you can do is you can share your school and course information. And that's another example of like when you tell us information about you, you can trust us to not then share that information without your knowledge. So we're only going to be using that information to like match you to better content in the case of school and course information. Um, so sort of a hypothetical scenario I came up with for data protection would be, say I'm an engineer and someone from marketing came to me really excited about wanting to run an Instagram campaign featuring maybe a few Quizlet users who have awesome profile pictures and like look super happy about using Quizlet and wanted to share the experiences they've had on Quizlet and what kind of content they're studying. And they come to me and they ask me to pull some information and give them a few users that they could share. So that would be a case where I would make sure that they had permission from those users before just going into the database as an engineer and then giving them information about users to then share wildly on Instagram. So that would be a case to like pause and then ask the question and make sure that their data is protected, and then the students can give permission to be featured on Instagram. So the other area related to user safety is content guidelines. And what I mean by that is really there's millions of users on Quizlet, and those millions of users are creating millions of study sets every day, which is a lot of content. And the guidelines are we want to make sure that students know that it's not okay to add abusive or inappropriate content, and that that content could be taken down. So that's a surefire way to not be able to learn, is if you're browsing Quizlet and come across, you know, for example, a racist set, or we've even seen cases of bullying at certain times where it's like, you know, term Bob and then definition like is a jerk or something like that, which is really not creating a safe environment. So it's up to us as people working at Quizlet to make sure we provide a way for users to report content that's not safe and that it can be taken down appropriately. So a little bit of a less serious topic, I wanted to share a pretty cool partnership that we made. This was pretty recently in the past few months. But first, I will share this video. I'm guessing some of you might be familiar with TikTok. So I just realized I don't know if the volume worked at all. It might just be in my AirPods. But that was a teacher who uploaded a TikTok video, and then they were able to attach a Quizlet set to their video as well, so that their followers could not only just watch the video, but then study the content of the video. So this was a really cool partnership, and I actually was lucky enough to be one of two engineers that was working on building out the Quizlet experience for this partnership with TikTok. And I wanted to talk through how did we make the decision to go into a partnership with TikTok. And yeah, at a higher level, like why do we decide to go into partnerships with anyone outside of Quizlet? And so this case was really cool because this first question, which is the most important thing when deciding to work with a partner, is how will we help each other's users? So like, how is Quizlet helping TikTok? And then how is TikTok helping us? And in this case, TikTok was really excited to work with us because they wanted to promote more educational content being created on their platform. So rather than just like viral dancing videos and whatever else is happening on TikTok, they wanted to really encourage teachers to upload educational content as well. And for us, it was great because our mission is to help everyone, like every student, learn. And TikTok has billions of users, like it's extremely popular throughout the world. And not all of those users necessarily even know what Quizlet is. So it was a great opportunity for us to reach more kinds of users and introduce them to our platform to help them like have a new tool to learn from. So win-win situation. They were a lot of fun to work with, and we basically built out a custom experience through which like TikTok could use our API to search for content on Quizlet, and then they had a custom flow. Like within TikTok, you could study a Quizlet set, which was really cool. And other at a high level things that we have to make sure happens before we go into a partnership with another company is making sure that our users' data stays safe, because a lot of times when you're working with a partner, they might need access to some of the user's data. In this case, TikTok didn't need any Quizlet user data at all. They only needed access to some Quizlet sets, which are already publicly available. So that was totally fine. And then also cost is a factor as well. So sometimes it costs money to partner with another company. But in this case, it was totally free. The only cost was we had to put in some engineering effort to create a custom experience for TikTok. But we thought that was going to be well worth the potentially billions of users who got access to Quizlet, and who got like exposure to Quizlet because of TikTok. We're probably not at that point of like billions of people yet. We're in the slow rollout phase right now, so this feature is only available to some TikTok creators. It's not available to everyone yet, but it's a lot. It's really exciting of like what this could become going forward. Okay. Cool. So to kind of summarize this part of the talk, I'm sorry I kept on repeating the mission, but I really wanted um, to like emphasize that your company's mission is a great guiding force to be able to make good decisions. So it's something you should always be referring back to in order to make good decisions. Um, I just realized something I forgot to mention is when you're deciding what company to work at, it's always a really good idea to look at that company's mission and see if it's something that you're really excited about. Because ultimately, if you're excited about what the company is doing, you're going to be more excited to do great work, and it's going to be a lot more fun for you. The second takeaway is to make sure that you're always prioritizing your users and ensuring that they're safe. And finally, it is important to build a sustainable business and make money so that you can keep on existing to keep your happy users. Okay, so now we're gonna play some Quizlet Live. I don't know if any of you have played this before.
I'm a mom of this, or I used to be.
Yeah. Okay, just a fair warning. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and scan this QR code. Let me know if anyone has issues. Did anyone use this a lot in school? Yeah.
They used it at my middle school a lot.
Okay. Was it like a
I
fun
used it
experience?
yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. What did you use it for?
My forensics like practice.
Super cool.
I play it in Spanish a lot.
Okay. Awesome. So then most people probably know what to expect a little, but it's pretty easy if you've never played Quizlet Live as well. Okay. Is anyone still trying to join the game?
I think Mari's still trying.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just wanted to quickly say I really like that you can study while you wait. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we added that semi recently.
Um,
Are you getting your last minute studying in?
not saying that cramming helps, but
Built-in cram.
it's there if you need it.
Yeah, it's great
We're
'cause
like-
the only the ones that will be used in the specific next one often, instead of
Mm.
instead of all of them. So that's nice.
Oh, in the study before the game starts?
Yeah, that specific game, not all the
Mm.
games. Pretty nice.
Yeah, cool. Glad to hear that you guys like that. Okay. Unless anybody is still trying to join, I think I'm going to go ahead and start it. Okay. All right. Good luck. Oh, it looks like we have a winner. Congratulations, Cole.
You guys are fast.
I got second. Ugh.
God.
Nice. Sweet. I hope that was fun. Just wanted like some, not just me talking only. Cool. Well, that's all I have for the content of the talk itself. So are there any other questions from anything we talked about, or just random anything we didn't talk about that you were curious about?
I know Mari had a question in chat from like I think 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
It was, do you think technology will stay such an important feature in the future?
I do. I'm probably a little biased as someone in tech, but I think if anything, it's just getting more and more important rather than less so. Like there's a lot of automating of things and wanting to, I don't know, like in the Bay Area, I see sometimes those Google self-driving cars going around and this world of automated driving, and that's like a huge area of tech that's up and coming now. I think this generation, it seems like being able to order things online or through apps is a lot more the direction we're going versus like calling someone on the phone. I personally hate calling people on the phone. I get really upset when I have to do that. I'd rather do everything online. So it seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and it's yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
All right.
I actually have a couple of questions I think
Yeah.
people would be interested in hearing about. But before I get into my own questions, uh, Madison actually has a question. How did you start building connections that led to being employed at Quizlet? And then a smiley face at the end.
Well, how did I start building connections that led me to
Mhm.
Quizlet?
Yep.
um, yeah, so I guess that's something in general that's really important too, is just always being open to meeting new people and learning what they're working on because, yeah, ultimately making connections is what's going to lead you to opportunities a lot faster than just like applying online with someone having no idea who you are. So the person who introduced me to Quizlet was working at Quizlet, and at the time I knew her through weightlifting, actually. So she was a friend that I made when I was trying out. Um, I'm not a very good weightlifter, but I tried this for a bit, and I met a lot of awesome people there. But it was, a very unexpected kind of place to meet someone. But it really led to this great opportunity where she heard that I was a software engineer, and then we got along really well as people. We weren't, working together in a work sense, but because at work, really what people care about is that you're a nice person and you're going to be someone that um, people are like excited to work with. She recommended me to interview and thought I could be a good fit, just like knowing nothing about my technical skills, but only me as a person. Um, and yeah, I think there's more of those kinds of situations where I just met someone not at work at all, doing something completely different that ended up becoming a strong connection in the work world as well. So keep on doing things outside of work and things that you love because it can help your career too.
Awesome.
Was that smiley
Um,
face because you're wanting to work at Quizlet?
Mari wants to ask, what was your experience at Berkeley like?
Mm. Yeah, so I guess I touched on this a little bit, but it was really hard for me actually. Just to be like totally honest, I thought like in high school I was a really good student. I got mostly A's and I was taking AP classes, so I was kind of used to succeeding. And then when I went to Berkeley, suddenly I wasn't the smart one anymore. I was surrounded by a lot of really smart people. Um, and so I became less of an A student and more of like, I was really happy if I got a B. And I felt like I was just struggling a lot. Um, but now that I'm looking back on that experience, I realize it's okay. Like it didn't actually matter that I wasn't getting great grades the whole time. And my last year, I ended up having a lot of fun and focusing a lot less on the schoolwork side of things. And I actually recommend that. Like it was the best time. College is a really unique place to meet a bunch of people and make a bunch of new connections and just have a good time. So that was like something looking back on it that um, I regretted, like working so hard for so long. But this is probably like terrible advice to a group of students. Like you should take school seriously. But I just like for myself, I think I took it a little bit too seriously and I was a little bit too hard on myself. And in the big scheme of things, when I started working, it was fine. Like people mostly just cared that I was a good person who was open to learning versus like they cared less about exactly what my grades were. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, honestly. Kind of building off of that, I guess, what piece or pieces of advice would you give to like the average high schooler, almost going into college, who
Mm,
might be interested in pursuing like engineering?
yeah. So one thing that I did in high school that was really helpful is I took one computer science class. I know not necessarily every high school offers computer science, but I think my school had like one class, so I just took it and just to get an idea of what even is coding, and that was fun, and it gave me a sense of like this is something that I might be interested in. I think I remember the fun thing that we did where I had a moment of maybe being an engineer might be fun was like I created a Yahtzee game, and that was a lot of fun to see like the code that I wrote could end up being something, that was fun to work with. But then I think just being open in general to learning different things at different times and trying different things out in school as well. It could be at college too. Like if you take a certain kind of class and you notice you're really interested in it, pay attention to that and try more classes. I know sometimes it's possible to start out um, undeclared, and then after the first couple years, you can declare. The reason I declared my major upfront is I think within engineering, it's a little bit harder to switch into an engineering program, at least at Berkeley, the way it was laid out. Um, then like it was easier to switch out of it if I decided I didn't want to do that. But just yeah, I think at a high level, my advice is just to be open to different things, and it's okay if you don't have your mind set up right away of exactly what you want to do, um, and try to pay attention to like what is it that you really enjoy versus getting hung up on like am I good at this, because it could just be that um, you might be doubting yourself as well. So I'm glad that I kind of pushed through even though I was not sure about engineering the whole time, but I stayed open to it, and after I graduated it ended up being something that I loved a lot. So, and it's okay if you change your mind a bunch of times as well and try out different things in careers too. um, I know it can be overwhelming to make a decision like that and even know like what do I even want to apply for. um, but it's okay to not have it all figured out, because I definitely didn't ever have it all figured out. Any other questions? Was this like interesting or helpful? Like what were the favorite parts or boring parts? You can be honest.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I personally really enjoyed learning about all the different kinds of experiences you've had in your career. Definitely, for sure, it was awesome hearing about. It was really interesting hearing about how you shifted from biotech to food tech to general engineering. I thought education. I thought that was really fun to learn about.
Sweet. I'm glad that was helpful. I think like one of the best or my favorite things about being an engineer is there's just so many different kinds of things that you can do. Like um, food or saving someone's life or like helping someone learn. There's so many different ways to make an impact, and I love that.
Any other final questions? To kind of add on, I don't know if you see chat right now, but Mari said that your talk is very helpful, interesting, and Madison said that it was really interesting, really helpful to hear the process of how it can work out.
Yay. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Makes me feel better.
Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I guess I have one final question that I guess I think I've asked like every speaker that I've like, joined so far in the fellowship list, but what's your one piece of advice for everybody? And I guess this kind of like ties into the previous question. But
My one piece of advice for everybody.
yeah.
Oh man. I think it's just to believe in yourself, because no matter what it is that you choose to do, as long as you hold on to that core belief that you can do this and you have what it takes, and don't compare yourself with others, and just know that there's something unique that you have to offer, and lean into making sure that you can shine, and people are lucky to get to experience whatever it is you have to offer. Like, as long as you keep reminding yourself why you're awesome, great things will happen. And the fact that you guys are all here on a Saturday learning about engineering, I know that you all are awesome and you're going to do great things. So just remember to keep reminding yourself that you are awesome and great things will follow.
Beautiful put. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time today. Super helpful. We learned a lot. We've been having speakers from like all different like areas. So we had someone from like the game industry, like game development, and then someone from CZI. And so I think it's really awesome to be able to get even more perspectives from you. We had like 6 different industries that you were in. And so it's really helpful. But I think Minji is here to wrap things up.
Yeah, and Shelli, if you haven't dropped your contact information or anything, if you're comfortable with dropping that, you can put it in chat, and our students may be able to contact you for any like future questions or whatever that they want to ask you. And yeah, I think that's probably it, and we'll be sending over a follow-up email to you very soon. All right. Thanks for coming.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right. You guys too. Bye.
And let me